immigration or whatever. The truth of the matter is, your explanation on the increase in quota, I have personal concerns. No country in the world, not America, not China, not Europe, that allow all manners of people to come under all kind of guises, and they are giving visas or green card, whatever it is, passport, to reside in the country. When, maybe over the weekend when you are not at work, just visit some of the commercial centers in Abuja, and you will find.
And one shameful thing I will tell you, I wish we have satellite so we can say, okay, spend 1 week in looking at the activities of foreigners in Nigeria. There are more foreigners in wrong places in Nigeria in hundreds of thousands by the day, just in search of solid mineral resources for themselves. But there are individual Nigerians who are standing in for them. I tell you today, with all sense of humility, none part of our borders is fully manned. There is no port today in Nigeria that can say, we have inspected all the containers coming to us and we issue them certificate of being arms free.
Immigration or whatever. The truth of the matter is, your explanation on the increase in quota, I have personal concerns. No country in the world, not America, not China, not Europe, that allow all manners of people to come under all kind of guises, and they are giving visas or green card, whatever it is, passport, to reside in the country. When, maybe over the weekend when you are not at work, just visit some of the commercial centers in Abuja, and you will find expatriates selling chairs, selling tables. You will find expatriates selling bread, making bakeries. I don't want to measure their nationality, so I have to be a bit diplomatic. But there are clearly jobs that Nigerians can do, jobs that Nigerians have been doing, that have now been relaxed and transferred back. All the gains of indigenization, Nigerianization. As a union leader, I fought many employers when they seek to import expatriates to do jobs that Nigerians can do. And as it stands, somebody said it from brass. If you check the document seriously, you will find technicians from foreign countries coming here as engineers, while our own engineers are working in foreign restaurants in Europe and elsewhere. You are too generous in issuing permit for expatriates to do jobs that Nigerians can do. I raised this matter even when Ngige was Minister of Labor, but I realized that it was not, it is the Ministry of Interior. And I work, when Nigeria had a manufacturing sector, I work in that sector. But even today, those jobs that have been exclusively reserved for Nigerians are today being carried out by foreigners. I see foreigners managing supermarkets, small stores. As nobody can tell me that Nigerians cannot be a sales manager in a small company. And I'm not talking of a big scale business. And you see this expatriate, again, I don't want to measure they tend to come from a particular part of the world. So I think you need to review that. Because since the economy is not creating the number of jobs that we need to cope with the population growth rate, we do need to ensure that the jobs that are available are not taken over. It is right to encourage foreign investors. It is even right to accept to borrow money from foreign countries, but not to lend and allow them to take over our territory. I see expatriates who sleep in containers. I see expatriates working in where they produce. I come from Edo North, and you find them working in granite. Things that Nigerians have been doing. That is not really mining. This is granite we use for road construction, for civil engineering, construction, etc., etc. So obviously, quarries, that's the correct word. These are jobs that Nigerians can do. And if you keep licensing foreigners to do it, you are actually compounding the unemployment situation of skilled Nigerians. I want you to speak to that. And at a point, I was saying to somebody that we may have to commission a consultant, just Abuja here. I will have a conversation with you as to the definition of what a Nigeria can do and what your honest judgment in Nigeria cannot do. And let's just do a test case of Abuja capital territory. By the time you go to Lagos and go to Chinatown, the picture might even be much more confounding. And recently, I am sure distinguished senators, honorable members, you will have read the newspapers about people from, after they measure our name, we took and measure their names. Chinese people being arrested by EFCC for Yahoo activities. Those ones came here with your permit. You have expatriate quota for Yahoo players. So I think these are issues we must take much more seriously. We mustn't allow one expatriate that has no business here to be here. He can visit as a tourist, but like every tourist, you go back at the expiration of your tourism. I am particularly, if you understand my background, when it comes to job creation and transfers of unemployment to Nigeria, I am a fanatic. I think your ministry can do a lot more. You should be less generous. You should carry out more interrogation about the kind of job people are doing. When I go around many places, the people I see, if you go to Kano, you will find Chinese working, doing bakery work. Small stores. No, that cannot be. Because they don't allow Nigerians to go to their country to do those things, even though we have very cordial relationship with them. So I'd like to have your comment on it, and it's something that I think you need to, as a Nigerian, we all have a duty to secure those jobs for Nigerian young people, and even the not so young.
So, okay, spend 1 week in looking at the activities of foreigners in Nigeria. There are more foreigners in wrong places in Nigeria in hundreds of thousands by the day, just in search of solid mineral resources for themselves. But there are individual Nigerians who are standing in for them. And there are hundreds of thousands of whites who sit with Boko Haram, who feed Boko Haram. They share common food. They recharge their batteries for their telephones, for their laptops, with which they are being communicated to by hostile international bodies in dealing with the same Nigeria. And such international hostile bodies are also patronizing your oil and your natural resources. And to you, it is right. And one disturbing thing we discovered is that the whole world over, anywhere you go, a foreigner has some no-go areas in that country. There are places you cannot go, but only in Nigeria. The citizen has some no-go areas. The foreigner has everywhere to go to. Only in Nigeria, failure of institutions, lack of foresight, lack of laws, lack of law enforcement, lack of knowledge in our law enforcement, lack of patriotism in our leaders or in some of our leaders at all sub levels that are entrusted to provide leadership. Meaning, once you have the leadership in Nigeria, you are just coming to do labor work in a scientific manner, carrying all along. That's why I can say at this point to tell you, any person that lacks the wherewithal, the energy, the vision, the capacity, the patriotism, any person who has stolen yesterday and coming to say, I have repented and I'm coming to provide leadership, that is deceit. Don't accept such a person. And I'm not campaigning, I'm not telling people to look for who, but I'm telling you from being heard. And who are these Nigerians that are expected to speak out? Is it the human rights bodies, or is it the civil liberty organizations, or is it the CSOs in Nigeria, or is it the Nigerian Bar Association, or is it the bench itself, or is it the African bench, or is it the West African bench that are recognized? The matter, once it comes to the court, is a public issue. The one you may ask is, where is it? Or is it that you have had an executive body as at the time it happened that was part of secretly or that compromised it? So that's why in Nigeria, first thing first, is a revival of the institutions that you have so that Nigeria can be seen to stand on her feet. An issue where the poorest of the poor can say, I belong to this country because I know there are arrangements in the institutions that govern Nigeria that cares for me, that protects me, and that will help me. There, people will say, I have sense of belonging as a Nigerian. Then he can lean on to the country and give Nigeria its own services. Part of the breakages of your internal security problems today is simply because there is a wide gap between the have and the have not, being complemented by failure of institutions and then from the greed of some certain individuals who ordinarily are expected to be seen to be fathers of the country or mothers of the country, as the case may be. So failure to provide leadership at different strata in Nigeria's life promotes numerous things, including this particular question you asked of. You may ask 9-point-something billion. And the question is, were you to be settled with the responsibility of investigating the contents, the genesis of the contracts, personalities involved, and then a certain fraction of it that permeated into pockets at home and outside Nigeria, you will realize that you have individuals who are bigger than your institutions, who are bigger than your country. One of the major causes of insurgency, because when an individual realizes that there is no hope in what he does, what he's saying, or what he anticipates to do to better himself, his country, his people, a collective interest of his tribe, of his religion, of his own region in the country, of a certain research of students, of relationship between people whom he believed that his dream would be complemented from discoveries from them. And if we realize that that is dashed, then mankind has options to go beyond or outside the law and act. It is visible in every part of Nigeria you go today. From the unemployed Nigerians, the young, vibrant, innovative, who are highly creative, who are very promising Nigerians, highly intellectual, they are there roaming our streets. When a brain from a vibrant soul that is ready to create and to innovate and then is not being complemented, he sits and he can, anything negative comes his way, he may also be creative out of it, and that becomes a problem to the leadership to handle. And then if he sits down and realizes that he has all it takes to provide some certain innovative activities, particularly in the electronic world today, Nigerians elsewhere are doing quite a lot. And I met numerous younger ones who are ingenious and who are ready to create numerous things that will make them billionaires overnight. But in Nigeria, there are some certain people who are providing leadership in different strata, are always jealous of such innovative younger ones. And to us, part of our manifesto is to identify, to talent spot such persons and invest therefrom and giving them the opportunities to roll. We believe in the one saying, which is divine, and then also is the guiding factor to any activity of man in life, which says there is no end to possibilities in the life of man, in the life of a country, community, or committees of nation. It's God that said so. So if God has said so, and you are now depriving people of such opportunities, first of all, you are anti the Creator who set them forth to your country. None of us selected to say he consulted God Almighty before being created in Nigeria. We are all Nigerians by the wish of God. So you only woke up and saw yourself as a Nigerian, that is to say, your elders, your contemporaries, and your younger ones, and those yet to be born, in your own services, either sayings or actions, innovations or some certain creativities will come up, things that will complement the country and the people, including generations to come. The question you may ask yourself today, those in leadership, if you can assess them properly today, then the answer will be a sorry, regrettably, it will be a sorry response. Meaning, greed is the driving force to so many who found themselves in power. Unfortunately, it has become a culture. Rather than seeing yourself being opportunistic, if you are given the role to provide leadership to people. Providing leadership to the people alone allows your name to go into history. You become automatically a leader, and you can look in retrospect to say, that were the achievements we garnered for mankind yesterday when we had the opportunity. That alone presents you as an elder statesman. But in Nigeria, from our activities, it is evident that the definition of leadership has nothing to do with such services rendered. It is just seen from the point of view of one ugliest part of greed, meaning they found themselves in power and the opportunities open to them is to steal, and when they leave power they are coming out super billionaires, and to them that is the yardstick of being identified as an elder statesman. This is a reversal way of looking at issues in life. If this has been the trend in Nigeria, at least time has come to get